Yes, you read that title correct. I am doing, or should I say continuing, my series on Gravity Falls, covering the episodes. If you're new to this channel or it's your first time here, I was covering all the Gravity Falls episodes, doing pretty good, but I fell off. Honestly, like life just kind of got in the way of making YouTube videos for a while, but I am back to it. I'm excited to be back to it. I love this show. I didn't stop because I dislike the show. So I'm happy to be creating more content around it. And I'm going to try to do this a little bit more, a little bit different. Whereas like my past videos, I feel like I barely kind of went over, the episodes, at least in good detail. So I'm going to try to go over them in better detail so you guys can get an idea in case you haven't seen the show, but you kind of have a general idea of, remembering what happened. So yeah, other than that, we will jump right into it. It's going to be I'm going to kind of break down the episode just kind of in bullet points from what I remember. And then I'll just give my review on, what I thought of it. So this is Season 1, Episode 11, titled Little Dipper. In this episode, Dipper becomes insecure after he discovers that Mabel is slightly taller than him. And this small difference leads to a rivalry between the twins, with Dipper becoming obsessed with regaining his height advantage. He stumbles upon a crystal that can shrink or make objects larger, and he uses it to make himself taller. Meanwhile, Gideon returns with a plan to steal the mystery shack from Grunkle Stan, and he tricks Stan into signing a contract, but Maple and now Tiny Dipper work together to stop him. The episode ends with Dipper learning a lesson about self-acceptance, and Mabel reassuring him that becoming shorter doesn't always make him less capable. Now, a few key points I wanted to kind of go over. Dipper being upset that Mabel is taller. This is something I really enjoy that they included, because it's something a lot of guys specifically go through, and it's one of those things that is so like common in society. It's even got its own term, short man syndrome or short person syndrome or whatever you want to call it. But basically being insecure or upset about your height, and that is obviously being shorter than most people. It's I've been watching Love Island with my wife, and it's definitely a big thing on there recently with one of the contestants on there. If you know, it's one of the biggest shows right now for a reason. And I'm really liking that. I hate to admit it, but I am liking Love Island. Although I'm not liking the people. And one of them is, a person who is very insecure about their height. And it can make someone, an awful person. It can make them very mean, very irritable, very agitated. So I like that they included this in the episode because it's something real. And if you followed my previous reviews of this show, that's like one of my main draws to it, which is like, for such a childish or for like a Disney Channel kid show, it does cover a lot of like real topics, and it gets surprisingly deep sometimes. So I can honestly appreciate that about it. Next up, another key point I wanted to kind of go over was that they find a growing/shrinking crystal in the forest. I think this is a really cool way, for the show to address this issue, but with its own identity. This show definitely has an identity, and it's very unique. And I just love it so much because, nothing is ever really basic or plain. It's a very creative show with very creative methods of getting to the points that they want to get to. And I think it's a really great way to keep it kind of, this whole plot, this episode wasn't anything super crazy, especially compared to past episodes, but it's still like very quirky and unique and very Gravity Falls-esque. So I like that they had Dipper's shrinking/growing problem addressed with a crystal that they find in the forest. It's very, very fitting to the tone of the show and to, I guess, like the overall vibe of everything. So I really appreciated that. And I also appreciated the return of Gideon. Him trying to steal the mystery shack again. I'm sensing a pattern there. I'm sure it'll continue. And those of you that have seen the show in its entirety, I mean, don't spoil it for me, but you could probably confirm it is a pattern. I like seeing Gideon return. I like seeing his evolution. Well, I don't want to say evolution because he does kind of seem the same every time we see him, but I do enjoy seeing him each time. It's always entertaining when his character appears, especially when he's going against Grunkle Stan. So I really like that they included that little subplot. And that's another thing I really like about this show is like the A and B plots are never really like worse than each other. I mean, obviously the A plot is stronger, but like usually with shows the B plot is so annoying and just a slug to get through, or a slog fest to get through, that it's like you kind of wish it wasn't there. Whereas with this show, I can honestly say up to this point, I haven't really come across an episode where I'm like, can we not include this plot? Or like, can we not really have this going on right now? I seem to like everything that they do. And obviously the A plots, like I said, are stronger, but the B plots definitely are not bad. Now, another thing I really liked was Dipper and Mabel teaming up to defeat Gideon despite their earlier fight. And that's like really the heart of the show, is like the sibling relationship to me. And I don't know if that was like the intention by the creator. I haven't really looked up much about this show because I don't want to spoil anything for myself. So maybe once I get through the entire show, I can go over everything in more detail and like kind of see what I missed, or you guys can let me know what I missed by the end of everything, or even now, as long as it's not a spoiler. But yeah, anyways, Dipper and Mabel teaming up is just so like great. You know, I love it because it's typical sibling behavior. You know, you get in a huge fight, you probably think it's like, this is the last time we fight because I'm done with them. I'm done. I've had enough of their shit. But of course, you always come back to each other, your siblings, you help each other out. I'm not one of those people where I think family is family no matter what. I think there are some heinous things family members can do, and they're not family after that point. But I think for the most part, you know, dumb fights like this, it's just part of being a family, part of being a sibling. You shouldn't hate each other because you have differences or because you argue. It's a part of being a sibling, whether you have a brother or sister or whatever. That's just how it goes. What matters at the end of the day is that you're there for each other. And Dipper and Mabel always seem to be there for each other when it matters most. So I just really love that dynamic and their relationship and the way it's written. To the point where it almost makes me like, I feel like the creator of this had to have had a sibling in real life, because the way he nails that dynamic, I know he's responsible for like the creation and the writing a lot, so I feel like he definitely has experienced that dynamic in real life. And you know, it ties back into the serious, not serious, but I guess like more real themes in the episode, which is like the sibling rivalry, the insecurities and self-worth. I think it's really awesome to include all this in a kid's show because it's something that's like entertaining. I remember, you know, a lot of people loving this show when it came out when I was really young. I never got into it a whole ton. I would maybe catch an episode here or there on TV, but none that I really can recall. But I think that's the beauty of this show. Like, it appealed to younger audiences, and honestly, I feel like I can't really speak on it because, like I said, I never really watched it like that when I was younger. But I feel like it's definitely a show that's like, it hits better when you're older or like as an adult, because you could pick up on more of that stuff. So yeah, I just feel like it's really awesome to have that in a show like this, because obviously nobody asked me to kind of, you know, review this or go over this show, but I'm happy that I'm doing it because I'm finding, you know, possibly one of my favorite animated shows. And I love a lot of animated shows. It's weird because animated movies are kind of tougher for me to enjoy, and live action shows are tougher for me to enjoy. But you know, if you flip flop them, I'm good. Like, my favorite TV show of all time is Avatar: The Last Airbender. Thanks to my wife, she showed that to me, and I love that show. 10 out of 10 easily. You know, I grew up on Batman the Animated Series, Justice League Unlimited, Superman the Animated Series, Batman Beyond. A lot of Batman and superhero themes, as you could tell. But either way, I loved my animated shows as a kid. So in a way, I'm kind of happy. I'm glad I didn't find this until now, because I get to experience it fresh as an adult, and I get to pick up on all this stuff that I'm sure the creator, you know, intended for people to pick up on. So Yeah, I can't really remember, to be honest with you guys. I can't really remember how I was rating these, like if I was doing a number scale or a grading scale, or if I was even giving them a number at all. I mean, you could tell me how you feel about that. I guess I'll rate it today. I'll keep it simple, like on a scale of 1 to 5. I'll give it a 3. I think it's perfectly like middle ground. I don't think it's like below average. I don't think it's above average. I think it's a pretty average episode. Didn't really change my life, didn't really affect me on a psychological level to a great extent. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It felt like a really good return to the show. It's been like 7 or 8 months since I've watched it. So it's just been really nice to kind of get back into it because this show gives me a really cool feeling. I can't really explain it because I've never really done anything like this, like go away for summer to like the woods or, live with grandparents. But it's just really cool. The feeling that it gives me is like summer, good vibes, woodsy kind of Halloween vibes most of the time, even though I'm sure that's not its intent. I just really like it. So yeah, I thought this was a pretty good episode. I'm going to be getting back into the flow of things. I don't know how often I'll be able to get you guys the Gravity Falls specific episodes, but I'm hoping for like once a week, probably. And like I said, if you guys like this episode, let me know down below. If not, also let me know. I like hearing opinions, good and bad, as long as it's not like, people being absolute dicks. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this one. Next up will be episode 12, so be on the lookout for that. I don't know what to expect, so I feel like you guys that have seen it probably know, like, oh man, some crazy shit's about to go down. Like, this episode is when shit hits the fan. I can't wait for, to get to that. But I'm looking forward to the future of this show. I've said it before. I feel like it's going to go in a crazy direction because it just feels like it has a lot of legs to it. It feels like the writer and everyone behind it was very keen on where they want to take it because there seems to be a lot of like breadcrumbs that I'm picking up on throughout. So yeah, I'm excited. I will see you guys in the next one though.